The Trek Geeks Podcast Network is proud to have FanSets as its presenting sponsor. FanSets is the place for amazing pin collectibles with over 400 officially licensed Star Trek pins and new releases every month. Stay tuned for a special discount code good on your next order at fansets.com just for Trek Geeks listeners. FanSets. Our pins have character.
This episode is also sponsored by Science Division, the makers of the galaxy's first interactive tribble that you can control with your very own smartphone. See their limited edition giant silver tribble available for pre-order today at sciencediv.com. Science Division. Trouble's never been this fun.
Hi, this is John Billingsley, Dr. Phil Phlox from Star Trek Enterprise. Now, I'm reading something that was written for me, and I think they could have done better. So this is not me, this is them. My prescription for you is a healthy dose of the Trek Geeks Podcast, starring Dan Davidson and Bill He Could Have Done Better Smith. It truly is the best medicine. Oh, come on, boys. And here's how they close it. Doctor's orders. Shame, tisk, tisk.
For the record, that was Dan Davidson that wrote that.
That was me.
Wow. Well,
that's even better because now it's forever blamed on Bill.
That's forever blamed on Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Bakula.
There you go. Ooh, wow. All right.
From the galactic headquarters of Podfleet Command, located in the Granite State, the 9th state of the Union, the newest of Hampshires. It's the biggest little show this side of the Alpha Quadrant, the flagship of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. Greetings to you, listeners all over this big blue marble, and welcome to the Trek Geeks Podcast. I'm your co-host, Bill Smith. This is episode number 277 of Trek Geeks, and we are so excited that you were here today. And of course, by we, I do mean my co-host and I. You know, he's taken a lot of abuse from me over the years, and most of it, well, not even most of it, all of it has been justified. I mean, let's be honest about this. He's the largely indefensible Dan Davidson. And Dan, I'd love to say it's great to have you here, but you're here, so let's just do this.
Well, that's great. Thanks. So I'll throw the great in the sentence, and you can do with it as you will, sir.
Great.
It's always great to be here, man. Yeah, 277. Wow. That's a lot of episodes. That's
I know. I'm amazed we haven't been
276.
canceled.
I know, it's amazing. But you know what? We don't get canceled, my friend. We continue on. We're like a fungus.
You mean like the mycelial network?
Oh, very nice. I like what you did there.
Thank you.
Yes, all right. Anyway, yes, it's great to be here. Episode 277. It's always good to sit down because as many people know, you know, we've had our attack at work that we've been dealing with, and the holidays and life and the pandemic. So we only get together once every couple of weeks to record. So when we do, it's kind of fun. It's kind of special. It's like a reunion of sorts. So let me know when the 25th is, and I'll be back. Bye.
It reminds me of the time I passed a kidney stone.
I did that once too. That was not fun.
I actually never did. I was just trying to come up with something that was painful that was probably hurt as much as having a child.
It did hurt.
And that's really what talking to you is like.
Well, I'm glad I can help. Speaking of talking.
Yes.
It's very, very interesting here that we're on a podcast talking.
That's a pro-market segue right there.
Isn't that great? We are going to have a great talk today, my friend. I am very excited because, as you know, February is Black History Month. And we are very happy to have with us some people that came on the show a year ago for their podcast, SyFy Sistas. Took over our podcast. We were like kicked to the curb, and we were okay with it because
justifiably so.
Fantastic.
I mean, we're not that good.
I don't think we've actually come back from the curb. We literally sit on the curb and record every couple of weeks. But they were fantastic. They were so good that we invited them to join us on the network, and they accepted, and they have been just such an integral part of our family for the past year. So we decided to bring them here so that we could finally talk to them on the show with all of us together. So that's what we're going to do this week, and it's pretty awesome.
And that is the SyFy Sistas. I mean, you said everything but who they are.
Right.
So
well, we got Yvette.
Great job there.
Sorry. Well, I was getting to it. I wanted you to comment on my intro.
Which was terrible, by the way.
Obviously didn't really care about. But so, do you want to go ahead and do it? It looks like you're taking a breath. I'm just here to help.
That would be the first. No, it's a long overdue conversation with the SyFy Sistas. We were so, like you said, Dan, so excited to have them become a part of the Trek Geeks Network and this family that we have here at the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. And we thought that it would be good to essentially celebrate their first year on the network. And we have the opportunity to do that. Plus, I mean, we get to talk to them about their fandom, about, their show and their point of view, about Afrofuturism, which is a term I had no idea about until we met them.
Yep.
And that I think I'm hopefully a better fan now because of.
I 100% am in agreement with you. I love these women so much. They are wonderful people. They're fun to talk to. They fit right in with the people that we have on the network, and they really are a part of the family. So I want to thank up front, before we even have the discussion, Yvette, Subrina, and Tamia. Fran, unfortunately, wasn't able to join us, but I'm sure that we will have her on with all of them again soon. And it was just great to celebrate the SyFy Sistas here on the network. It's a great conversation. It
is, and it's not the last time we'll do it. We'll actually be talking to many of the podcasts on the network throughout the year, so that we can sort of collaborate and find things to talk about, that are of interest to all of us. So
harping on Dan will be on the top of everybody's list, I'm sure.
Great job, Ted.
Thank you.
Dan, as we do on every show, it's time to talk about our good friends at FanSets. Each and every month, they have new and exciting pins to add to your collection. And this month, well, you're going to be surprised to find out that this month is no exception.
No exception at all. And it's a short month, yet they still have great releases for the entire month. Like, we already have had Osira and Season 4 Michael Burnham have been released at the beginning of the month. And then mid-month, just a few days ago, the Tom Paris plate and Tom Paris himself from Lower Decks was released. And, because we're coming up on the end of the month, that means March 1st, you're going to be getting new FanSets Star Trek pins. And March 1st, you can look forward to the Lower Decks and the Picard title card pins and add them to your ever-growing collection. And that's pretty awesome. But there's one other thing that's even more awesome, Bill. We've talked about this a little bit.
Your face?
My face is awesome, and I appreciate that. But one other thing that might be even more awesome than that is the fact that in just a few short weeks, you and I are going to be at Mission Chicago, as will FanSets, and they have some Mission Chicago specific pins that are going to be available, and they look freaking awesome.
It's amazing. They released the images, or at least the artwork for these pins. They're going to look even better in person, because all of their pins do. But they've got 3 special show pins just for Mission Chicago, which is unheard of. So they've got a standard Star Trek Mission Chicago logo pin. That's going to be a show exclusive. And then they've got a different one with the Chicago skyline, same logo, but with the skyline added in the year 2022, which is going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
And then, the one that really just sort of gets me.
Glitter.
Glitter. I love pins with glitter.
Yes.
What can I say?
Dancing with glitter.
No comment.
Anyway.
But their premium show pin with glitter is beautiful. It's the Chicago skyline and the Star Trek Mission Chicago logo set against the backdrop of the Enterprise D as the night sky.
Yes.
With a full moon in the background on the year 2022. This is a gorgeous pin. The best part is if they don't sell out of these at the show, which I have to imagine is a very slim possibility because they move a lot of pins.
Yes.
What they don't sell at the show will be available on the website So I'm going to stock up while I'm in Chicago.
Well, I will say if there's only one left and we're at the table, sorry, there aren't going to be any on the website.
That's right, because I'm going to kneecap you and take it.
Yeah, I got to say that Enterprise D1 is just absolutely gorgeous. The blue glitter is great. And I got to say, we were talking about this earlier. The moon in the background of the skyline of Chicago is really stands out. And anybody who's going to be in Chicago and anybody who's lucky enough to grab them from fansets.com after the event is really going to be in for a special treat.
Well, when the moon hits your eye, like a big pizza pie, that's Fansets. But you know what else I'm going to say, Dan? Head on over to fansets.com, put a bunch of other pins in your cart because they got tons of them over at the website. I mean, you can get some in Chicago, but you want to show up in Chicago with some pins on your person. Am I right or am I right?
Absolutely.
And then add some accessories and then maybe some gift cards. And then at checkout, be sure to enter this week's special discount code word Chicago. That's CHICAGO in all capital letters for 10% off your entire order. Now, this offer code is going to be good until March 9th, 2022 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Plus, I mean, don't forget, we tell you this every time, when you spend more than $30, you're automatically going to get free shipping from Fansets within the United States.
Hold on a second. I forgot. How much you have to spend?
$30.
$30. Okay. You said don't forget, but I forgot. Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank our friends at Fansets for being the presenting sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Their pins have character, but these hosts certainly don't.
If you haven't checked out the galaxy's first interactive Tribble from Science Division, then you are really missing out.
You really are. This officially licensed Tribble is truly an amazing high-quality Star Trek collectible, which we know you're going to be proud to add to your collection. You and I both have one, Dan, and we love these Tribbles. So much work and creativity went into creating this Tribble, too, right down to the softest fur you can possibly imagine. Plus, I mean, it's Star Trek, right? The sounds the Tribble makes are straight out of the original series. You're going to swear this Tribble was delivered straight from Space Station K7 right to your door, buddy.
Just absolutely awesome. Plus, the Science Division Tribble has its own app that you can use to control it. It's not necessary, but it is a lot of fun to make it scream at people like annoying podcast co-hosts. I love doing that so much. Fret not, however. Everyone except Bill knows. I say it every week. I'm going to say it right now. Tribbles are not dangerous.
They're not. But you know what they do, Dan? Tribbles like to travel. Did you know that?
I've heard that rumor. Yes.
And let me confirm for you that there's going to be a massive sighting of Tribbles in Chicago at Star Trek Mission Chicago because Science Division will be there.
Yes!
Can't wait for that. But in the meantime, head on over to sciencediv.com right now to pick up one of the galaxy's first interactive Tribbles for your very own. And while you're there, check out their improved shop accessory section where you can get all kinds of Science Division swag like t-shirts and mugs, or even the legendary Science Division tote bag of holding.
Absolutely awesome. Science Division, Trouble's never been this fun, Bill. And we thank our friends at Science Division for sponsoring this week's episode.
Hi, Dr. Phil Phlox, also known as John Billingsley, speaking. I am the president of the board of the Hollywood Food Coalition. We serve terrific multi-course meals to the unhoused and to those in need 7 nights a week. We assist as many as 100 nonprofits with their food needs, buttressing extraordinary social service programs. We work with community partners to address issues of food insecurity here in SoCal. We do lots of other great stuff, but how much time do we have? If you're in LA, come and volunteer with us at hofoco.org/volunteer, and any Federation credits you can spare go a long way.
So William.
Bill, Daniel, hello.
Your
What's
voice
going
sounds
on?
Great, by the way.
Your voice sounds amazing.
Well, thank you. I've been trying to sound as good as you, and
not possible, but
that's
okay,
never going to happen. Anyway, So here we are in February. A year ago, we decided that we wanted to do something for Black History Month. We felt that it was something that we felt very strongly about. So what we did is we invited several people to come on and basically take over our show for the month to do their podcast on Trek Geeks. And the very first thing that we said when we talked about who we wanted to have, we both said first, the SyFy Sistas. And
correct.
So they came on and they did a show, and I mean, Yvette and Tamia and Subrina and Fran, they just did such a fantastic job. And we were blown away. We loved it. The response that we got was absolutely amazing. So we said, we got to get them over here on the network. And so we did, and they did. And they have been
And they are
part of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network for a year this month. And they are here tonight. Well, most of them are here tonight. We'll talk to Fran later, but most of them are here tonight to talk about the past year being on the network and their amazing podcast, the SyFy Sistas. Got to welcome Subrina, Tamia, and Yvette to Trek Geeks. Finally, we get to talk on our show with you because we've never done it. So welcome.
Yay, hey. I'm waving to you guys.
Hi. Everybody in audio land can see you.
Tamia wants to be on video. Let me tell you, she does this all the time.
She better close her closet door then.
Well,
I mean,
I'll tell you what, I'll take a picture of us all right now so that I can post it on Twitter later on. So everybody smile.
It's your closet.
There we go.
We probably had the best month of shows we ever had last year because we weren't on it.
Exactly.
And then we actually did get that feedback. Yeah. Given. It's like we're doing a geometry proof over here. But it was such a joy for us to welcome you into the network. And we discovered very soon after that was really just the start of how awesome everything was. I guess my first question that you guys can figure out who wants to answer this was, how did you get the podcast? What made you sit down and decide, hey, let's do a podcast? Because when Dan and I had that idea, Dan initially told me no.
Followed by, what's a podcast?
Yeah.
So not too bright.
So who
Subrina?
who was the person that said, let's do this?
I guess it was me. I'm the Subrina. I was the one to blame. But I had another podcast on my own in a completely different world and under a completely different name, another pseudonym. So when we started the SyFy Sisters, it was sort of just a natural progression to do a podcast because they were getting hot. You guys, when you did your podcast, when you started, that was a couple of years ago. And, even in just 1 year, there have been so many more podcasts coming on. So it just seemed like a real natural thing to do. So we were a bunch of blabbermouths. So
Well, can we
blabbermouth?
We started the SyFy Sistas really clicked at AwesomeCon. We met each other at AwesomeCon in DC in 2018, right, Subrina?
Yeah, I think so.
And that at that point it was me and Fran and Subrina. And one of the first things out of our mouths, we came out of a discussion panel about discovery. And all of us were really upset when we came out of that discussion panel because the biggest thing in the world for us was that a Black woman was helming a Star Trek series. And on this panel, I mean, there was a lot of things that Discovery has done that they were first at, and have done really well. But for us in our world, it was that there is a Black woman at the lead. And there's just nothing that this is so huge and so momentous for representation. And yet at that panel, it was barely touched upon. And there were about 10 Black women in that audience that kept raising our hands to make points in discussion. And we were looked over and other people were called on. And we came out of there fuming. And we were like, you know what? We all looked at each other and we had just met each other. And we said, damn it, we could do this better. And that they're like, we should do a podcast. And those were some of the first words that we spoke to each other. And we had, at that time, I had no idea how to do a podcast or anything, but that's how the SyFy Sistas were born. And then a year later, we started actually doing a podcast.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing that after that, another example of something ridiculous and how parts of society act caused a positive thing to come about with you guys, because your show's amazing. And I'm not just saying that because you're on the network. I'm saying it because it's amazing.
Right.
And
thank you.
And to be able to hear the topics that you talk about and to have the guests on that you've had, what has it been like for you guys over the course of the time that not only that the Sisters have been around as a podcast, but on our network? What are some of the things that you are most proud of in using your voice to talk about the things that are important to you?
I would say that I think we've had a lot of feedback ourselves, and people are looking at Star Trek and seeing things that they never saw that went over their heads that we brought to their attention and sort of said, wait a minute, that's not exactly it. That's not exactly right. Oh, what are you doing there? But we are some serious Trekkies. We love Trek. We're completists. We've seen everything. We can quote shit. But but when you do some crazy stuff that's like really pretty wrong, we're gonna call you out on it. I'm just pointing this out. We're just saying.
Dan.
I think the best thing that's happened, I came on later, of course, with the SyFy Sistas, and I think that just getting us together was the best part of it. We not that we complete each other, but we bring out the best in each other. There are, I think we both think we're pretty alpha females, but when we get together, we support each other, promote each other. We listen to each other, which I think is something that's very rare. Black women being listened to and listening to each other. And I think we do that, and we have such a good time.
Never tell.
Yeah.
but that's not easy. That's not that this happened. Yeah. Something happened. This happened for a reason. I didn't know these ladies from anything, but I saw them perform on virtual TrekCon, and I think I reached out to Tamia and said, I think you guys are doing something absolutely wonderful, and whatever I can do to help you guys, because I am associate producer of one of the associate producers for Seventh Rule, and I was like, whatever I can do to get you guys going, and what are your plans? And, just wanted to know, because it was just, the vibe was just everything. And from that point on, we became very close, and I came on also. And it's been, I've been on this earth for quite some time, and it's hard to find women, Black or otherwise, who will get together for a cause. We don't always have to think the same way. We don't always have to have the same ideas and wants and thoughts. But I think just because we just, they have my heart, and I knew that from the beginning. When we get on here, there are things that we talk about that's not on the podcast that I can't talk to anybody else about,
right.
And I think that helps the podcast and the camaraderie and how we speak to each other and how we enjoy each other's company. And of course, Star Trek, that helps everything.
And I think to answer, to go back to the point of the thing that we're proud of, we're proud of every show feels like we're growing more, right? In our craft, and as well as human beings, because we're learning from everybody that we get to interact with, but I think one of our proudest moments was being able to do the introduction for the fundraiser for Hollywood Food Coalition, because that's where we really started to get to a moment to use our platform for something really good, something larger than ourselves, which is a direction we've always wanted to grow in anyway. So there's a really natural progression for us. So we're looking forward to doing a lot more work, to better this world that we live in. And, so that was really we all came away from that just feeling so good and uplifted. And, because service is at the heart, is really dear to all of us. All of us have been in some type of service in some kind of way and continue to do community service or other levels of service for people, in our private lives. So, being able to pair your passion with service is always going to win every time.
Well, and that's kind of part of the discussion that we had, Dan and I, internally in producing the telethon. It's, we didn't just want to highlight the cause, but we wanted to feature the voices of people who had passion and who believed in a cause themselves. And because we talked about a great many causes during Trek Talks, and not just the Hollywood Food Coalition. And I have to say, I mean, we kind of had the wild idea to have you all do the pre-show, which, we couldn't have possibly dreamed how awesome it was going to be, because it was even better than we thought. It set such a tone for the open. So, all right, picture, if you will, here I am, sitting behind my desk. On this screen over here, I'm watching your pre-show. On this screen over here, I'm getting ready to go live. And I'm getting energized to kick the whole telethon off from you all. And it was just a beautiful synergy. I mean, that's a little inside baseball and kind of, behind the scenes sort of thing. But you're right. It's about the passion. It's about the things that we believe as people. And it's about the relationships. And that's why Trek Geeks works the way it does. Anybody can talk about Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Not everybody is Dan and me, or not everybody is you all. And that's really what engages the listener. They feel like they're a part of the conversation. And I think that's why your show stood out to us so much, honestly. One of the terms that you've introduced me to as a listener and as somebody who publishes your podcast is Afrofuturism. Before last year, it was a term I had never heard of. Yeah. I had no exposure to it. And I'm sure that there are many people listening to this who still really don't grasp the concept or what it is. So could you sort of provide a little bit of a definition and why it's so important to SyFy Sistas?
Well, Afrofuturism is an artistic movement that relies on the history of the past to look forward. We see ourselves, its specific goal is to place Black people in the future, but also very specifically standing on the shoulders of our history and our ancestors and where we came from. So it's a sort of a Pan-African sort of movement. I mean, it's not exclusive to United States of America or any of that. Sort of wherever you find Black folks, you find people making art that are drawing on and reinterpreting sources from our history, from the past, and very specifically placing them in the future. Musically, that's people like Sun Ra, people like George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, people like Janelle Monáe, who's very specifically Afrofuturist artist. And there's visual artists and writers. And for me, like this term, I'm just a Black girl who's been a geek my whole life, right? And I've always read science fiction and fantasy since I was the smallest of smallest. This is where I found my comfort space, was in my imagination from the harsh realities of the world around me, right? Like this world is not an easy place. And I was a sensitive kid, and science fiction and fantasy it was the best place that I could be. But my world changed when I read Octavia Butler. And she was the first person that I read that, I mean, I saw her book in the bookstore and it had a Black girl on the cover and she looked like me. And that floored me because until that point, I mean, I was born in 1971. So I'm talking, had to be like 1980 something, 1990 or something, 1980, 1980s something, 1990s something. I had never seen a book that I was reading or interested in with anybody with brown skin, which means that like in the ideas of the minds of the people that make decisions about what's going to be, what a consumer is going to buy, they don't consider my skin something that a consumer would, be interested in. If they saw an image like me, they would not be interested. And they definitely don't see me in the future. It's definitely Benny Russell, the dreamer in the dream, So, I'm digressing now. So let me shut up because of that. I mean, but that's what Afrofuturism, specifically that term. And this is why I was going there, is because I'm a Black girl who loves science fiction and fantasy. And it's very important for me to create and write and imagine futures in which I exist. If I cannot find it in the mainstream literature and media that I'm seeing, I must create it for myself. But Afrofuturism specifically always has a connection to the past, and it's based in African cultures and what we brought and kept with us when we were brought to these countries, to the Americas or other parts of the world throughout the diaspora, and using that to create this mojo of us in the future, very regal and strong and powerful. So
Yvette and then Subrina, do you have anything to add to what Tamia was saying in regards to it, or are you just kind of all on the same page?
No, I think it's she's nailed it. But and people struggle with the definition. It's this, it's that, it's whatever. There are some books that are, there's a book titled Afrofuturism. You can get more about it if you want to see it. But that's basically it. And what that is different from just having a Black actor in a part walking across a bridge and that's it. That's not Afrofuturism. What's Afrofuturism is when Captain Sisko brought his African sculptures to Deep Space Nine and put them on the wall. We were like, well, yeah, that's Afrofuturism. So that's a whole different story. And that, writing that into Deep Space Nine, that kind of stuff, even the clothes that they had Sisko wearing is why it resonates so much with us, even though it may be just passing somebody else by.
The fact that when Ben gave Kira that baseball hat of the Negro League, and at that time, everybody was wearing HBCU shirts and Negro Baseball League caps everywhere in the 90s. And then when he threw that cap at her, I was like, hey, I know that cap. And probably most people, mainstream people didn't know what the heck it was, but we did.
We knew it. We knew it.
We did.
Avery knew what it was.
That was coded for us, and that was what was so special about his impact on that show, is that he was talking to his Black audience. Like he was not concerned whether white America could understand what he was saying. He knew specifically who he was talking to and who he was there for. Other people got the benefit of that, but he was specifically talking, having a coded conversation to us and for us.
And I as I'm going to probably say this a couple of times, as a white guy from New Hampshire, that what I think shows that perfectly is Far Beyond the Stars, that he directed in, and of course did such an amazing job. To be able to tell that story of the struggles is something that resonates with me very much, but it probably doesn't resonate as much with me as it does with you. Is that a fair thing to say, or I'm not exactly sure?
It might be.
Yeah, I think it will probably resonate kind of the same.
Well, I think it resonates differently. I don't think it's a matter of I think it may be a little bit differently, and we talked a little bit about that with Dr. Crystal Fleming and with Mark Zicree, and about how, and we also talked about it with Dr. Muhammad Noor, because we were talking about generational pain and legacy and having that sort of history written into your DNA, right? In a sense, we touched on that, but I mean, so I think it's all of those factors make it, maybe it resonates really strongly, but maybe a tad bit differently.
Yeah. And it's I think that's Far Beyond the Stars is a tough watch.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I don't know if I think about the future with that one. I mean, I know what the storyline is, but I always kind of center on, the past storyline. And I understand that Benny Russell is there and everything, but sometimes sometimes it gets kind of, I don't know, it gets a lot. And all I do is focus on, the past, because it's highlighted more. But that's why it's a great episode, because there's so much, so much to deal with in there. Yeah.
You all have had some, you mentioned some of the guests that you've had on the show recently. Mark Zicree, fantastic writer, has written probably the best episode in the Star Trek franchise, hands down. You've had Dr. Muhammad Noor. You guys have talked to a bunch of folks
The now visitor.
And the now visitor. And it's all been pretty amazing. Your fangirl hearts have to be exploding on some level because it must not seem real.
Yeah, the now visitor didn't seem real. That didn't seem real at all.
The now visitor show, I mean, we went stupid when we saw her name come up on the Zoom. For a split second, we all lost it. We were like,
literally, every single one of us.
They were like, so when she comes in and then her name popped up,
and then we're like, shh, be cool, man.
I was like, all right, everybody breathe.
We were trying to bring it back. Hello.
But you're right, though. Like, I mean, it's so cool that just wanting to get together and talk about what we love, about this fandom that we love and other fandoms that we love from our point of view has led to this cool new world. It has led to these meetings of mind and spirit with other people that never would have had an opportunity to do, before. I mean, yeah, totally. I fangirl a lot. I get really excited about it, and I try to keep it under wraps and keep it cool. But I really like what I do.
Yeah.
And even if I didn't get to meet all these cool people, I still would feel the same way. Like I felt the same way before we started having guests on the show. I love doing this. I love producing a podcast. I love talking about and engaging in these conversations with other fans. And I love providing a safe space on the mothership on Facebook, for people to come together to talk about their fandom, especially and not get jeered at and not get called down and not get here, like, I don't want politics in my Trek.
That's my favorite.
What have you been watching?
Right?
You're definitely not watching.
That be your last battlefield.
Right?
Oh, nice. I
like it.
Yeah, and those, let me tell you, those fan moments don't get old. I mean, Dan and I have been doing this now for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, just last week we talked to Armin Shimmerman from Deep Space Nine, and my little fanboy heart was exploding. Because I love Armin to death. He is one of the kindest people we've ever talked to associated with the franchise.
And what's amazing, I'm sorry, Bill.
No, it's all right. I say it will never get old for you.
It never gets old. And one of the things that I like most, for the most part, 99%, they are such normal people.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you're talking to somebody that you're like sitting next to in a bar. I mean, they're not the Hollywood muckety mucks that
I don't know.
Like,
Nana was not.
I mean,
Nana she was glorious.
Andy Robinson and Nana were the first two guests that we had on from official Star Trek series, and they were both amazing. And when Bill and I started, we said there are 3 people that we need to get on the show: Nana Visitor, Andy Robinson, and Armin Shimmerman. We got Andy and Nana back to back 7 years ago. It took us 7 years to get Armin on, and it was worth the wait because it's just so great to talk to him.
That's awesome.
But they so want us to have a good show. And then I was like, what do you want to talk about? She was asking us questions. It wasn't like, she's sitting there and she's like, well, how long is this going to take?
She was very engaged. Yeah,
really engaged. And and Nana, if you're listening,
and we know you are.
We're looking for you on the cruise because you said to come over.
Me and Subrina, we're going to have it our cups knocking at your door.
You said cocktails. We said yes.
I'm going to say a video where it didn't happen.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Which of us is going to go ahead?
To me, of course.
Tamia,
shut up.
You go ahead. I'm going to shut
up. When I first started listening to Trek podcasts, your podcast, Trek Geeks, was the first one. Well, one of the first ones that I found. It was the first one that I stuck with. I found a lot of other ones, and I was not entertained. And I was like, and the quality of the productions were really, but when I loved how it was so clear that you and Bill, notice how I put Dan first?
I did. But believe me, I took mental note. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That you and Bill were clearly tight together, and like ride or die guys together, and that love for each other really came through clear, and your love for Trek came through really clear, and your positivity came through really clear. I mean, so that's what stuck me. Like I found one random, I don't even remember which episode it was, and then I went back to the beginning and I listened all the way from the beginning.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I loved it. Every second of it. It was awesome. It was awesome. And now I get to be on your network. Like that killed me. You guys got in touch with me. I fangirled over you guys. I mean, and these guys will tell you, I lost my when I heard from you guys. I was like, you don't know.
You don't understand. You guys
who these guys are.
I was like, who? What?
I do that every once in a while still.
Yeah.
She talked us into it. Well, she talked me into it. That's for sure.
Got us listening to all the podcasts. I was like, oh, these guys are pretty good.
I was like, all right, let's hear it. I said, let's hear the speech. Come on, bring them on.
Bring them on.
They guys are great.
And now I find out that you guys are pretty normal, like you're pretty just guys, Yeah. So there you go.
It's
the
funny.
Moral of the story, kids, is don't meet your heroes. It's
wow.
really
we are disappointing. It's true. We're very disappointing. It's funny to me. I remember you messaged me about 3 or 4 years ago, just to ask me random questions about podcasting. And I remember we had a conversation. I remember that, I probably dropped a few bits of advice, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until after we invited the sisters to be on the network. I'm like, oh, I remember her.
Yeah.
So I'm so normal in the fact that I'm also a giant idiot.
Preach.
Not so much. We're here.
I gotta say, Tamia, I really appreciate what you said about that, because what we've talked about on the podcast all along is you can listen to anybody, any 2 people, any group of people, NPR style radio talk about, oh, what did you like about that episode, Bill? And it can be boring. We have always said that the Trek Geeks podcast isn't a Star Trek podcast. It is a podcast of our friendship of our love of Star Trek through the lens of our friendship. That's what's so important about it. And I think to have someone who does a podcast herself to say something like that is very, I'm very honored by you saying that, first of all, and I'm glad that it actually is showing, because having to put up with this guy for 90 minutes when we record every week is really hell on earth. So thank you for that.
I swear, you guys, I listen to it and I just crack up at the way you start talking to each other. Like, what?
And it's funny. It's been like that since day one. We met over 25 years ago at a job. I was at a job and he started about a month after I did. And I trained him in the job we were doing. And I had an Enterprise on my desk. So he immediately knew I was a Star Trek fan. And that's how it started. And it just has never really stopped. So we just now
it's true.
Let all people hear our craziness every week. That's about it.
People think that the way we interact with each other on the podcast is a bit or it's shtick, and it's not. It genuinely is how we talk to one another in the real world.
Yeah.
And
people are like, you're real friends?
Yeah, I know. People are concerned that one of us is abused by the other. We've gotten emails that, Bill, you should take it easy on Dan, or why do you guys have to be so mean to one another? And I'm like going, we were mean?
That's not mean.
When were we mean?
That's love, you big jerk.
Thanks, you big ugly freak.
But that's what it's been like, and it's been like that ever since we met so long ago in tech support.
Beautiful.
And that's
it's a love story.
Well, and that's why I'm blown away to think that Yvette, you weren't initially part of the Beatles. You came in after, and that really blows my mind, because the relationship that you all have on the show says to me that you guys have known each other forever, and that just it's mind blowing to me.
And what was really funny is when we finally physically were in the same room and met each other. It was like months after we've been doing this pod, we were like, he's there.
It just, and then we just acted like we've known each other. We feel like we've known each other a very long time. We have similar roots. We all come from Virginia.
Really? All of our people come from this
Norfolk, Virginia,
Tidewater, Norfolk, and Tidewater, Newport
All
News.
of our people are from.
Oh, wow.
Fran, all of us.
Wow.
All of our people are from Tidewater, Virginia, somewhere. So I don't know why we're all together, but it's supposed to be, and
it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah, it is.
But it was immediate. It was immediate that
when every episode you can tell. I mean, that's what's so great about the show. I have a very serious question for the three of you, and it's going to show my naivety. Is that the right word?
Naivete.
Thank you. About things. And I thought of it when we were talking at the very beginning about why you started the SyFy Sistas. We of course know the importance of Nichelle and her role in the original Star Trek Enterprise, but we also have Sonequa being captain of a show. If there is a way, or is it even possible to rate for the three of you, which is more important on the scale as we look in today's world? Because today, unfortunately, I think we're moving backwards again, which is just absolutely disgusting. But with what's going on, seeing Sonequa doing what she's doing as captain of a starship versus what Nichelle brought to TOS as the first Black woman who have a role on a science fiction show where it had meaning. Is there a way that you can scale those? And if there is, what would you say in 2022?
I don't think so. I don't think there's a way to scale it personally. My initial off the gut reaction is that, because Nichelle's role when she had, it was just as momentous as Sonequa having her role now.
Okay.
The world was so different. This Sonequa couldn't even have been imagined. I don't think Gene Roddenberry even imagined Sonequa for real.
Yeah.
It was other people like DC Fontana might have imagined Sonequa. Real talk. But so I think that Nichelle and Sonequa are both pretty on the same level of importance in my book.
Yeah, you can't have one without the. You can't have one without the other.
That was what I was going to say. If Nichelle didn't happen, do you think
no
we would be at a point today that there would be a Sonequa?
One's a dreamer, the other's a dream, baby.
Yeah, look at that. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah.
Nichelle is everything to me. Nichelle is just just it. Okay. But Sonequa now, that's my girl. I love her. I can't even tell you.
Sonequa,
her from a lot.
If you're listening,
and we hope you are.
Please, we hope you are. We love you, and we want you on the show.
Yes.
I watched her in, the only time I watched The Walking Dead was because she was in it.
Yes.
And I couldn't even sit through that show because I was so creeped out. But she was in it and I watched it. And she was also in another show about the fairy tale thing. Yeah. And I watched that show and she was in that. And
Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time.
I didn't know she was in that.
Once Upon a Time. And I wanted to know who this actress
was. She was the only one I cared about on that show.
Yes, this woman. Yeah. And then The Walking Dead. And when they announced that she was going to be the new lead of Star Trek, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I got a chance to get an autograph from her in Vegas a few years ago, and can I just tell you, she is the most genuinely nice person I've ever met at an autograph table. Wow. She commits and talks to every single person who comes up. She makes sure that there's a conversation and not just hey, how are you? Or it's not like like a baseball card signing or when William Shatner signed it. It's like this.
A Galaxy Quest moment.
Head down. Yeah. So there are no Galaxy Quest moments with Sonequa Martin Green. She is just such a ray of positivity that it's hard not to immediately fall in love with her as a person.
I made her cry.
You make me cry every day.
What did you do?
I told my story to her about what happened with me in Star Trek, and she cried. And I know she's an actress, but I'm going to take it as they were real.
They were real.
Yeah. And what Bill said is absolutely right. She sits there and she looks at you and listens to every single word. And a lot of the Star Trek people do this. It's a lot of the current Star Trek people do that. I should say. I should also clarify. They sit there and listen, and they engage with you. No pun intended. But and Sonequa being, and you would think that she's the top billing of a Star Trek series. You would think if anybody doesn't have the time to sit there and talk to you for 5 minutes when you got 1,000 people behind you, she'll talk to you for that 5 minutes.
She will.
She doesn't want to brush you aside, and that's one of the great things about her.
I think that as far as Star Trek ambassadorship, that she is more than capable of handling it. And I see her embodying that role and taking it very seriously. Helming, I see her really internalizing the principles of the Federation and really trying to live that, and give that sort of love and support all the way around her. You see it in her interactions with her other cast members. You see it how she represents for the franchise, at every appearance that she's asked to do. And so my respect for her keeps growing and growing and growing, and I see a similarity with her and Nichelle in that way, because, Nichelle was such an ambassador, and I see her on that same playbook, really carrying the mantle for the show with a lot of dignity, a lot of grace, and a lot of love. So she makes me ecstatic. She makes me happy.
She gets it
every day.
She definitely gets it.
Great.
Yeah. She knows how important this is, but outside of Star Trek, and what this whole moment in history is going to be, not just in Star Trek or even in entertainment, but that some little girl is watching her now and getting that idea that, I can be a commander and go in space, and I can lead the mission. And she really does get that. And that's something that is, you can't buy that. And you can't, there are a few people that can inspire that.
So let's talk about upcoming Star Trek, the next 12 months. That we got a lot on our plates, and Dan and I have just been exhausted from the last year of I think we had 40 weeks of new Star Trek in 2021. This year is off to an amazing start. We're back into season 4 of Discovery after the break. Season 4 is going great. What are you looking forward to as far as new Trek outside of Discovery season 4 wrapping up?
Yvette.
I was waiting.
Strange New Worlds. I want to see that. I'm a huge the Cage fan.
Yeah.
TOS, I just started liking TOS. So when the Cage came out, it didn't come out, of course, with all of TOS. It came out during the run of TNG. So I believe I might have been still in college. I'm not sure. So when it came out, I was just floored by it because number 1 was there, and number 1 was a female. That I was a fan from the beginning, and I was like, I want to know more about number 1, because she wasn't Una then. Number 1, and so when season 2 of Discovery came out, I love season 2. I think it's a love letter to Star Trek and its fans. And then knowing that A Strange New World is going to right a lot of wrongs of TOS. I think that's what I mean. Mumbega is going to be there. We're going to really know about Uhura. We're going to really know about Una. We're going to really know about Christopher Pike. That's a great story. And I'm really, that one episode, for probably most of my Trek life, I've always wanted to know more, and now I'm gonna know more. That's probably it.
Hell with the other stuff.
Hell with it.
I have nothing to say.
Well, but I mean, the thing I always say to people is, people are free to like or dislike whatever Trek they want to. That's totally cool. For years, I didn't like Voyager.
Right.
I do now. I'm a self-professed Voyager fan because I actually made it all the way through the series. But if there's some of the new installments you don't like, I get it. That's totally cool.
Oh yeah, I get it too. It's Trek. I'll watch it. Not gonna like it, but I'll watch it.
No, I was the one that had to be brought around the lower decks. Everybody was watching it, but me. I was like, oh my God, I can't. And then they're like, you're not watching lower decks. I'm like,
I love that thing.
You like it now, Sabrina?
I love it. I love it.
It's hilarious.
So we got an issue with the last episode, but okay. But that show has had me in stitches. If you really know your Trek and can get all the little drop egg,
there's some deep cuts.
Yeah.
Deep cuts.
Very.
I've been saying that season one of
that was
I've been saying that Lower Deck season 1 is the best season 1 of any series ever made.
No, hands down.
I agree.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's nothing better. Nothing better.
Well,
what else are you guys looking forward to?
Prodigy is getting close to that.
Let me tell you, Prodigy is.
But it's the season that never ends.
It's like 38 episodes.
That's because it's like this little itty bitty story every time. But this is what's so amazing about Prodigy. It is a little itty bitty story every time, and it's almost an entirely complete story, complete with Star Trek philosophy, with the Star Trek quandary, and so I can look at it and go, wow, I learned something from this, or this made me think, but it's really incredible storytelling. It's harder to write short form. The shorter the form, the harder it is to encompass like these ideas, and yet they're doing it beautifully.
Right.
Beautifully. And they're probably one of the best. I think it's my favorite of the new series so far. I really wanted Disco to be my favorite because Sonequa is my favorite because they do have such diversity on the show. It's not, and I can't. It's just not. I'm taking it to task a lot these days. It's making me. I'm questioning a lot about it. I want them to tell me a story and stop preaching at me.
Yeah.
You can preach at me through a story. Tell me the story though. Just show the story. Just show the characters doing what they're supposed to be doing instead of standing around in a room and telling me this is how we should feel about it.
Right.
Which Prodigy can do it very well because they are talking about team building and counting on people. They have all these things that they're trying to tell young people.
In like, I think 24 minutes they do it.
Yeah, in 24 minutes. Plus you gave me like the quandary. Plus you told me you dropped something for the people that have watched Star Trek for 50 years. Right. And it looks beautiful. And I'm
right. And you gave me new looks.
Right. Yes. You're like, I'm trying to figure out where the diviner has got me up. I'm like, what the diviner? Oh my God. I was in there screaming about, oh my God. Looking at the cartoon, and I'm gonna call it a cartoon.
They've been great.
No, they've been really great, and I'm looking forward to the second half of the Disco season because I think there's a lot of potential there for the story. So I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to Picard.
Oh yeah, that's
Picard is your thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to say too much because I can't. But I've seen the first episode of season 2, and that's all I'm going to say.
I've always been I was a huge fan of Picard season 1, and seeing the trailers for 2 and hearing more about the storyline, that is my wheelhouse. I am just so excited. I'm excited. I'm a very happily married heterosexual man, but goddamn if John Delancey isn't the sexiest guy I've ever seen on television in those trailers and that black suit with that ascot that he's got on. Oh, baby. I am going to cosplay as that in Vegas this summer, I think.
I
can't wait for Seven and Q and Guinan and all of these people. I can't wait to see the story. And of course, it's another time warp story. So that's something I love as well.
Are you going to be Delancey's dim-witted twin brother?
That's not funny.
No, but it is true.
Wow. Why have to be so mean, Bill?
I know.
We're friends.
Please email Dan at dan at.
Well, Sabrina, I never got a chance. I'll let you go. I was about to say another one I'm excited about, but
the one I'm excited about really is actually the rest of Discovery. I have wanted to love Discovery. I'm trying to love Discovery. Like Yvette said, season 2 was one of the best seasons of Star Trek, bar none. I don't care what anybody's got to say. I wish they'd go back to those uniforms. I just like, but they told me something that I couldn't figure out what was going on. I wanted to figure it out. It was crazy. And then when you told me, I was like, I'll go with the signals. Yeah. I'm with you. That's really some wild stuff you just told me. But I am looking forward to Strange New Worlds because I just love the Captain Pike and Anson Mount baby.
Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna have to side with you there, Sabrina.
Anson Mount is just, Fran is not here, and I want you all to know that Fran would be with me on this one.
Oh my God.
Love us some Anson Mount. But wow. And you know what? And Little Ethan isn't bad either. So
did she call him Little Ethan?
Little Ethan.
She did.
I did. Little Ethan isn't bad.
Stop! Oh my God!
Oh
God!
Send your
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to watching
Right?
that. I know. He knows I love him. Ethan, you know. I told him so. Remember when I waved at him? I was screaming at him. I was like, Ethan. He looked up at me and I waved and he waved back. And I was like, he doesn't even know who I am, but he thinks that we know each other because I'm being so ridiculous. And Fran absolutely scared Anson Mount. She scared him. Remember that? He ran back in the elevator.
He did try to run.
We don't play. We don't play at these conventions. We do not play. So I'm looking forward to that. And I do want to see all these other characters. Picard. I feel the same way about Michelle Hurd that you feel about John DeLance.
I know. Yes.
Yes, I love Michelle too. We got to talk to her at the red carpet, and I was like,
that
she is
woman
everything.
That's the sexy motherfucker right there.
Yeah.
She really is.
She was glorious on that red carpet. We got to ask her a few questions, and her husband, who's also an actor, Garrett Dillahunt, he's like handing me his phone so I can take a picture of her being interviewed by Dan. And I'm like going, this is such a meta moment.
Oh my God.
This is amazing.
He's like, is that Dave Davis? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like, idiot. But Michelle Hurd has probably become one of my favorite people in the Star Trek universe. Yeah. Not just because she's Raffi, but because specifically she's Michelle Hurd.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's a great ambassador of Star Trek herself.
She really is.
Exactly.
Yeah, she is. Yes. And it's been so long since Picard. Sometimes, unfortunately, you forget about these characters and how good she was as Raffi. I mean, that's what I'm not a big Picard fan, but I do love me some Raffi.
I've been a big fan of Michelle Hurd's
since Law and Order.
Since Law and Order,
man.
And other, she's just been, first of all, I was like, she's a woman who has hair like mine.
Yes.
She has this sort of in-between skin tone, like I do. And she always played these confident, strong women. She didn't go for the beauty queen route, right? She wanted to play a woman of substance with some brains who was taken seriously. And that's what I always gravitated towards, And so, I'm a huge Michelle Hurd fan. I mean, and that's actually what I was going to say. Like the last thing that I'm looking forward to Strange New Worlds, obviously, because I just think it'll be fun to have episodic Trek again.
Yes.
And,
absolutely.
I could use some of that in my diet. But when it comes to Picard, the main thing I'm looking forward to is Michelle. I'm looking forward to Picard because of Michelle Hurd.
Right.
I'm going to put it to you that way.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly.
I will say that one thing that I'm glad to have heard from you, and I'm not sure if Yvette you felt the same way, but I know that Tamia and Subrina said it, is I've been losing steam, unfortunately, with Discovery this season. as it's gone along, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen this week? And I've kind of been looking at it that way. So I actually said to Bill just the other day, I said, I've been so far behind because of work and we had a ransomware attack and all that stuff. So I'm behind. So I just finally watched the episode before the break.
Mhm.
And I said to Bill, I said, so I just watched the episode before the break. Now I got to watch this week's episode. So I'm really hoping that it's going to come back and I'm going to love it. But I think, Subrina, what you said is perfect. Don't preach. Tell me a story without preaching. And I think that's what they've been doing a little bit.
That was Tamia, actually. Pay attention.
Was it Tamia? Sorry.
Thanks, Dan.
Sorry. What's your name again? Yeah.
Remember, you put him first. Yeah, I just want to say that. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm glad I'm not the only person on that right now. Yeah.
No, you're not. And I think that, like, some people are afraid to say anything about Discovery. No, because it was such a hotbed because so many people said so many disparaging things, about it for so long that we had to support it, but they were giving us something to work with.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And don't get me wrong, I still love Discovery.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It has some brilliant moments.
It does.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The first episode was great. That first scene in the first episode was just the best. That was Star Trek.
Right.
And I love first scenes. Mm-hmm. First scenes are the best if they're done really well, because sometimes the first scenes in Star Trek are like better than the rest of them.
Yeah, they really are.
Right.
So, and that one was like that. It was great. And they went back into knowing their characters, not back into other Star Trek, but back into knowing Discovery. We got to know, we know Sneaker now. We know Captain Burnham now. We know Book now. We know the bridge crew. We know, what they're famous for. Michael's always getting herself into something, So I like that because it was going back to Discovery, not the rest of Star Trek. It was going with their canon instead of, everything else. So but it kind of fizzled out for me since then. So
I get it. I still enjoy the ride to some extent. I wish they'd get away from the mystery box format because I feel like it's painting them into a corner every season because they have to try to keep outdoing it every year.
Right.
And just like you said, tell me the damn story.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just go get the bad guys. That's all it is.
Yeah, that too, and that's fine. Well, we have to
be something crazy.
No, unless he's Dan Davidson.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
We have to thank you all for bringing your light and your positivity and your amazing talented selves to be part of the Trek Geeks family. I am overjoyed that you are with us on this ride, and we couldn't ask for a better podcast, to have joined the network. Yeah, it's funny because Dan and I have had a hand in creating most of, I would say 99% of the shows on the network, with the exception of yours, and you all do it better than we could have imagined it. So, so thank you for being a part of this. We are so proud to be your friends.
And what I would like to add is everything that Bill just said, and I mean this 100%. We've gotten to know you from listening to you and from having our conversations. We love you guys. We generally love you guys. We love everything that you guys are doing. Man. We love what you stand for. And it's just, it really is a privilege to have such wonderful people with such a great message as part of our network family. And we couldn't be happier.
Oh, thanks, man. We're so here. Yeah, we love you right back, and we're so happy to be here, really. The prospect of being on a network was not something that we had even thought about. And then you guys asked us and we're like, oh yeah, baby, this is, but not just, not just because it's being on a network, but like I said before, like, I love what you guys do. I love how positive you are. I think we all do, and that's what it's important because you set the tone for the rest of us. And the way that you're constantly striving to live these Federation ideals, right? And constantly striving to grow and enlarge IDIC in your lives. This is work that it's something, it takes work, right? And you guys talk about these things and you talk about them really openly and honestly, just like human beings. So we all gives us the courage to all be honest about this growth, and to do the work in this growth. So we love being here too. It's no small potatoes.
Trek Geeks. Trek Geeks.
We'll always be honest about it. People may say, "Oh, listen to them; they're just blowing smoke and they're being nice because they're on the network." No, because when Bovia and Rogers are on our show to talk about the divine treasury, you're going to find out just how much we can hate people. No.
Hey guys,
wait a minute.
We didn't say that, guys.
No. I'm just kind of kidding.
They
really.
know.
We're going to be doing a show with them soon. Come on, Dan.
I would be a horrible producer if I didn't remind people listening that you can find SyFy Sistas on every major podcast platform: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts. You can even find it at trekgeeks.com/listen if you happen to use a different platform, or you can always find them on the free Trek Geeks mobile app. God, that was so good, wasn't that? That was
good,
that was
man.
Pro.
Way to go, Bob.
That was
awesome. Good job, Hefe.
Dan, what a great conversation with the sisters. I love their show so much. I've listened to every episode. It's a show that makes me smile. It's a show that makes me happy. And it's a show that I've learned a lot from. And I think that's what's, that's the most beautiful part of their show, is that not only does it just appeal to nerds and fans everywhere, but it actually elevates the conversation. And I'm so fortunate and happy that they are part of this network.
As am I, man. And one of the things that I think is so great about the sisters is, as we discussed during our talk with them, their whole idea of their show came about because of a negative reaction that they had when they were at a convention. Yeah. So something kind of crappy happened that I totally agree with, and they turned it into something positive and have built on that and have built a tremendous show, which has a great audience. They have the respect of the podcasters all across, up and down each coast and back and forth and worldwide. And I'm so proud and honored that they're part of our family, and it's just fantastic to have them.
Absolutely. So if you haven't yet heard SyFy Sistas, please, check them out. You can find them on every major podcasting platform. You can find them on the Trek Geeks website by going to trekgeeks.com/listen. Or, you can even just use the Googly machine and look up SyFy Sistas, and we guarantee you will find them. And more importantly, we guarantee their show is going to become a regular in your rotation on your podcast player for sure.
I can't say it any better than that, because, you're the brains behind this show.
I'm not the one who went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting and flunked out after a semester, but that's just me.
Wow. I don't think I did that either, but okay. I have a diploma on my wall.
No, you have a Trek Geeks Delta on your wall. You're a liar. Dan, another group of people that we are so grateful for are our friends, the band 5 Year Mission. They have a podcast on this network too.
They do.
It's the very eponymously named 5 Year Mission, the podcast. Eponymous. And you can find it on every major podcasting platform as well. Fark and Mike just dropped a brand new episode with Real or Fake not that long ago. So they are back, baby.
That's awesome. Eponymous. That's a kind of a very dangerous aquatic creature, isn't it? Eponymous?
No, just shut your mouth.
Sorry.
We want everyone to go out to 5yearmission.net, get all their albums. What is wrong with you? God.
Sorry.
Buy
their albums. That's what you're saying.
Buy their albums. Get them shipped to your door, because we guarantee you're going to become a huge fan of the band, just as we are ourselves. It's 5yearmission.net, and get their podcast wherever you get all your podcasts.
Absolutely. And they're another group of people that we're so happy to have on the podcast network as well. So congratulations on releasing the new episode, guys. But I got to say, this is a little scary. I'm not going to lie. It was ominous. And it was
your face is ominous.
It is, and it was, and it will be. Again, it was incredible at the same time as my face. Located in a secret area of the Beta Quadrant, it was under Romulan control. It was once part of the vast collective, and now it holds thousands upon thousands of sleeping drones waiting to be freed. Those former mindless musicians that had been freed have been nicknamed the XDs, Bill. I bet you didn't know this. That stands for the X-Drummers. But no matter how liberated the former drones are, there's always the fear that the collective may rise again. But for now, It's a place of research and peaceful coexistence, allowing us to all enjoy amazing music throughout the quadrant. It is a thing of awe, of fear, and perhaps of hope. It is the artifact, or maybe, possibly, the Farkifact. Whichever way you want to go, it's up to you, because that's just the way it is. But hey, don't forget, you can also help with an upcoming Farkism. Just head on over to trekgeeks.com/contest to submit your amazing idea. One lucky winner is going to win a $50 gift card to FanSets, as well as become immortalized, as I am, as a fellow Farker.
Please, because Dan needs all the help he can get. I have so many problems with this.
You have so many problems, all right.
I'm here. I regret to inform you that Trek Geeks Human Resources will be processing your termination forthwith and immediate.
Because of the artifact?
For an entire litany of reasons, quite honestly. The artifact.
Dun, dun.
So wait. I have a question here.
Okay. Yes.
So the XDs or X drummers, are you saying that drummers are mindless automatons?
I didn't say that. You said that.
No, I'm asking a question.
I don't remember saying that.
So the Borg are mindless automatons. XBs are former Borg. If this is your sort of mirror universe, are you advocating that XDs are mindless automatons?
Not at all, because they're X-drones. They're X-drummers, X-drummer drones. So now that they're
the drummer
freed,
drones are mindless automatons.
now that they are freed of the collective, they are their normal genius self, making music that makes the entire quadrant dance.
But when they weren't free, they were mindless automatons just sitting behind drum sets.
Yeah, I think they were called Smiths. I'm not really sure, but that's what
I don't drum. So you're calling Fark a mindless automaton? Rat!
I don't know why I don't know where that comes from, because that is so not even close to what I'm saying.
It's actually exactly what you're saying, and I'm glad I wrote down that timestamp so I could bleep myself. So yeah, help Dan out as much as you can. TrekGeeks.com/contest, because if he keeps doing stuff like this, I'm going to fire him. Don't forget, you too can support the Trek Geeks Podcast Network by subscribing to us on Patreon, where you can get special perks. You can get raw audio from our episodes, Dan, including all the stuff that I'm going to delete from this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, you got a lot of stuff you have to jot down here for this here episode, and our patrons get to listen to all that fun and frivolity every single time we record.
Fun.
And guess what? I'm going to tell. I haven't even told you this. I'm getting ready to place an order for our patrons. Just letting you know.
You're getting ready to what?
Place an order. Going to have stuff ready for the patron. Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. I've been working on it, and it's going to be ready soon. So check it out. Get ready. Listen closely, because announcements are coming forthwith, I will say. So right now, though, no announcement. We want to take a moment right now to thank our associate producers for Trek Geeks. As always, we are so grateful for their support, and they are Vikram Bhatt, Brad DeMag, William Edward M. Jr., Patrick Escudero, Andy Fark, Kimberly Francis, Jonathan Hamilton, Peter Hong, William Jackson, Ryan Jeffs, John Krikorian, Sean Lynn, Rick Mason, Jamie McGregor, Ross McKinney, Aaron Mollenkoff, Casey Pettit, Helen Reed, Sarah Rutlinger, Tim Robertson, Greg Rozier, Eric Sakian, Adam Sanders, Tim Serdar, Heather Sohn, Blake Strike, Rick Tatro, Lisa Tomlinson, Ron Robel, and the gracious and wonderful Connie Hudson.
Oh, that's a fantastic read you did. That's the best one you've ever done.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That is amazing. We also want to thank our Trek Geeks producers for their support. They are Mike Bovia, Chaz Bradshaw, Kyle Castillo, Peter Craig, Andy Davenport, Craig Ewing, Jackie and Chris Hackney, Kimberly Hartman, David Hood, Lionel Marchand, Matt McGonigal, Jim McMahon, Darren Metcalf, Charlie Mulvey, Sean O'Halloran, Jamie Rogers, Major Self, Casey Shafsky, Jim Stoffel, Chris Trevuzio, Ken Tripp, Christina Werther, and the lovely and talented Jess Vashon. Dan, the senior producer of Trek Geeks, is Jude Tatman, and let me tell you, he is sick of your bull.
Well, where did that come from? Wow, I would have to argue that point. People won't be able to hear exactly what you said because I'm sure that's another bleep moment. But the people who are patrons will be able to listen to it, and I will argue that point with you, sir.
Thank goodness there's no video of this podcast.
No, yeah, because that was pretty bad. Anyway, yeah, you two, if you really want to, you can become a producer on the Trek Geeks podcast.
That's staying in.
Okay, that's good. You too can become a producer on the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, and it is so easy to do. Head on over to patreon.com/TrekGeeks for all the details.
So the inside baseball is that when we do the producer reads, for as much as we love our producers and we're so grateful to them, Dan and I try to make each other crack up. And it's not fit for watching. It's pretty pathetic, quite honestly.
Really, we are such children.
It's two children. Trying to get the other one to crack during the presentation. It almost
worked for both of us this week, though.
It almost did. Dan, next time on this here podcast, the ye old Flagship, we're going to deep dive into a very special episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which focuses on a very special character.
Yeah, absolutely. In all seriousness, we are going to do this. We still feel the loss of Aaron Eisenberg to this day, the man who played Nog so wonderfully for seven years on Deep Space Nine. And we've said that his character was the one with the biggest character arc of the entire series. So next week, we're going to discuss one of the biggest and most traumatic moments of that arc as we deep dive into the incredible Season 7 episode, It's Only a Paper Moon. It's all next time, and I'll be seeing you, my friends, on Trek Geeks, the flagship of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Such an impactful and powerful episode. And one of the times where Star Trek didn't have amnesia, and we're so glad it didn't.
Yeah.
In this case, such a great job by Aaron and Jimmy Darren also. So can't wait to look at that one in 2 weeks on the flagship. Of course, Dan, for more great Star Trek discussion, we want everyone to check out the other member podcasts of the network. Of course, everyone heard about the SyFy Sistas today. We want everyone to check them out. But there's also, there's Deep Space Pride, there's Divine Treasury, there's 5-Year Mission. There's With the First Link, there's Discovering Trek. There's so many great podcasts, and you can find them all either on our free Trek Geeks mobile app or by visiting trekgeeks.com/listen.
The Trek Geeks Podcast Network. No one, I dare say no one, talks Trek like we do.
No one. And of course, for all the news on all the Star Trek, please visit our great friends over at treknews.net. For now, this has been episode number 277 of the Trek Geeks Podcast. We do hope you all live long and prosper. They will never hear that over the feed.
Oh, usually I yell. So coconut.
Would you put some emotion into it?
Oh my God. Coconut.
That's how I feel every damn time.
Music for Trek Geeks is provided by 5-Year Mission. They're writing an original song for each episode of Star Trek. Hear more of their music at 5yearmission.net. Trek Geeks is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Bing bong, Daniel.
Bing bong. Bing bong. Bong to the bing to the bing bong bong. Everybody say to the bing hung huh. How do right? Everybody gonna say bing bing bong. Yes. Anyway, hi.
I kill you, Leonard Nimoy. Sorry, I'm quoting Step Brothers.
Yes. You're not saying anything mean. It's a quote. Yes. Yep. Don't get anybody upset.
From Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are sleepwalking.
Hysterical movie.
And Will Ferrell just blurts out, I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy. Out of nowhere. It's really weird. So I have a question for you.
All right.
Earlier today on our Patreon Discord, we started talking about the various terms around the United States for what you and I refer to as soda. before I clicked record, we were talking about sarsaparilla.
Mm-hmm.
Did your father ever use the word tonic to describe soda?
I think so, probably, yes. I mean, it's a term that I know I've heard in my family, so yeah. Soda pop, tonic, yeah.
It was
people call it pop somewhere else in the country. Which
pretty much everywhere else.
Oh, all right, okay.
Well, no, in the South they call everything Coke.
Yeah,
you got 7-Up Coke. You know, you got Dr. Pepper Coke, whatever.
White Coke.
Sorry, no, that's
wrong topic.
Not
sorry,
the same.
Okay.
Not the same. But my dad used to refer to any kind of soda as tonic, and of course he said it with a very harsh Massachusetts accent.
Tonic.
Even then, it was even more. See, yours is forced because it's not how you normally speak.
Right.
But I mean, when he said car, my mom used to mock him with the sound of a crow going caw, caw. But yeah, so that came to mind today from the whole sarsaparilla discussion we had off mic. Yes. So hey, buddy.
Hi. Yes,
that's random for everybody listening to the outtake.
Yeah, for those who are wondering, what the hell are you talking about sarsaparilla for? My dad used to actually joke about having drinks, and he would call it sarsaparilla, and then he would say he's going to go spit in his spittoon, and he would make this goofy face. Just some of the things you remember about the life of my dad, which was kind of weird.
It's amazing because, I mean, you make goofy faces all the time, and now I understand where you get it.
I just remember what the spittoon was all about. It was the former manager of the Red Sox, Terry Terry Farrell
managed the Red Sox, you idiot.
See, Star Trek's always on my mind. Terry, what's his name? But he was coach of the Red Sox. Francona, thank you. He said something about... Dad used to say something about him spitting in his spittoon because he always had that wad of glop in his cheek. Anyway, hi, how you doing?
Really, that's the end of that story. I thought it was going to be more engaging.
Random, and it just ends with...
For a second there, I thought your internet cut out.
See, I'm pretty good at that. Did it again.
Oh,
fool you once... Whatever the phrase is.
You didn't fool me the second time at all.
Well, shame on me then, right?
Because you look like Bugs Bunny when he's like, You know the one I'm talking about.
I do. It's funny that you bring up Bugs Bunny because all these things just start flashing in my head real fast. The other day, Sue and I were out for a ride, and in my head, I was singing to myself the square dance song that Bugs Bunny sings in that one cartoon. And I was thinking of how I could make that song something to do with Star Trek. That's what I was thinking about driving the car, just telling you.
I just want a point of clarification here. You've got like 17 brain cells, and you used that many for that?
Yeah.
Dude, your brain cells are an endangered species.
Yeah, I know. Then you could sell them at auction for a high price because...
No, you couldn't.
Promenade across the floor, sashay right on out the door and into the glade, and everybody promenade. Anyway.
Oh my God. Oh, that's
okay.
You can't remember what you did yesterday, yet you know that freaking song.
And I tell you, I have not seen that in over 20 years. That's the scary part.
I haven't seen it in at least over 40.
Yeah, that's me.
Wow. I don't know where to go with this now.
Yeah. Yikes and away. That's another one I like.
Yikes and away.
And away.
As you and I sit here recording this, we leave for Chicago and Star Trek Mission Chicago 6 weeks from tomorrow.
That's
awesome.
mind
blowing too. I haven't been anywhere in 2 years.
And it's going to be fabulous. I don't care if we're the only people that show up. It's still going to be awesome.
I don't care if I have to wear a full body hazmat suit.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I will.
Yep.
But I feel like I have so much to do and yet not really much to do at the same time. So because I haven't prepared for a trip in 2 years. I feel like I don't know how to do it anymore.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and I always usually start preparing for stuff well ahead of time, and I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. But I will say this: for those of you who are going to be in Chicago, I am kind of rethinking whether or not I'm going to do any cosplay there this year. Because it is a short convention, we're going to have our booth, and I'm going to be there a lot, and I'm just not sure if I'm going to have the time or the assistance to be able to do what I'm hoping to do. So I might be pushing everything off till Vegas, but
I was going to say, I think that's your better play, honestly. It's a con that's a day longer.
Right.
it's, I think it's a better opportunity for you to do it there.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. I may bring my, my Picard, uniform, but I haven't decided yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyway, it's going to be, I'm going to be spending too much time, saying hi to the people that we haven't seen in so long that I'm not going to worry about dressing up.
And then meeting all kinds of new people
yeah.
Hopefully that we've never talked to before,
Right.
which is really, well, both of those are the exciting part for me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Can't wait.
It's going to be weird. I'm not going to lie.
It is.
Here we are with 43 days to go, I think, until the con, maybe 44. And
something about that.
We have no idea what the whole mask situation is going to look like then.
Yeah.
We have no idea what the whole Omicron situation is going to look like then, even though numbers have consistently been falling,
I'll probably, even if there
good.
isn't a mandate, I'll probably have a mask on a lot of the time just to be safe.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt. Then people won't have to see this mug, right?
Oh,
so win-win.
Win-win-win. That's an Office reference.
Okay. All right.
You'll get there.
I will. And my wife's starting to like it. She's starting to
now
watch
imagine if she
episodes
felt
and
the same
laughing.
way about being married to you.
I know. It would be like a whole new sitcom.
It'd be win-win-win. So you saw like the last few minutes of the best episode of The Office that exists?
last 15 minutes. We turned it on at exactly 15:15 the hour. Yeah.
You got to watch the whole thing.
It was wow. It was interesting. So
it's all kinds of uncomfortable.
Very, very much so.
And that's why it's an episode called The Dinner Party. It's a season 4 episode of The Office. Much of it takes place at a very underhandedly thrown dinner party, which you'll find out about at the beginning when you see the beginning of the episode at Michael Scott's house with his crazy girlfriend Jan Levinson.
Jan, yes.
And it's just that episode is perfection in its uncomfortability.
And the Star Trek connection, well, besides, Dwight, is Mary Chieffo's mom is in this episode.
She is Mary Chieffo's mom.
Yeah. And the resemblance is uncanny.
Yes.
Very much so, except she's not as tall.
No, that's very true.
But then again, who is?
Who is? My wife and I are huge fans of The Office. We have been. We've been pretty much continually rewatching it throughout the last 2 years. To the point where if there's nothing on to watch, we just toss on The Office.
Yeah.
Although, so get this. My wife and I are going to an Office convention in August.
That is awesome. That is fantastic. Who's going to, have they named names of who's going to be there?
Oh yeah. They've named some names.
All the big names?
Yeah. Well, not all of them, obviously, because Steve Carell works.
Right.
John Krasinski works.
Yeah.
Jenna Fisher, has one of the most popular podcasts on the planet right now with Office Ladies.
Yeah.
Which is a great deep dive Office podcast.
I've not listened to it.
She and Angela are best friends in real life.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
and Office Ladies is one of the is continually a really top downloaded podcast, but they're both, it's a great look at The Office because they were actually there.
Right. Exactly.
So they're rewatching the series.
That's cool. I'm glad you're going. That's I wish they would come out with it. I knew they used to have them, but no matter where in the United States it is, if they have a Grimm convention anytime again, I'm taking one. Oh yeah. We're still watching. We're on our 4th rewatch.
That's cool.
We're spacing them out, and we love it. Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Okay. So at this convention in Jersey, it's called Thundercon.
Oh God, that's awesome.
Stanley's going to be there. Meredith's going to be there. Kevin. Several others. This is just off the top of my head. David Wallace will be there. Have you met David Wallace yet in The Office?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Stanley.
He eventually is Michael and Jan's boss.
Okay.
He's Jan's boss.
I might have seen him once when they were all in New York at a meeting. And oh wow, here's something. Michael Scott made things uncomfortable.
He does the Faces of Scranton video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But as I look at the guest list, there's Creed Bratton will be there.
Creed.
I love Creed. Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. And then a bunch of other people who've been in, a few episodes here and there, but they're still announcing guests. It's kind of like
great.
waiting for a Star Trek convention.
Yeah.
But I mean, even just Creed and Stanley and Meredith,
Stanley,
that's enough for me. I mean, I'm there.
Stanley is so funny. I love every scene he's in. He's a riot. I watched the one the other day where he was going to a sales call with the young kid, Ryan, and he's like, "Can I take this one?" And he just starts laughing.
Hi.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
There is not a bad episode of The Office
so far. I got to agree with you, man. I haven't picked it up again like I want to, but I will soon because I'm putting everything on digital so I can watch it on Plex. So.
Yes, you are.
I got a lot of stuff I've been putting on Plex.
Same. Well, I started doing that myself during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I've taken breaks here and there as, we did something like, I don't know, plan a telethon.
That didn't take much time.
No. So I'm slowly catching back up.
Good.
So
excellent.
But yeah, a lot of media. A lot of media. 10 terabyte drive that I'm going to have to, once I fill, I'm going to have to figure out what to do with.
I know. I said to Sue today, I said, I plan on doing this for a long time. So I'm going to have like spare drives all over my computer desk, all hooked in for Plex. But it's funny that in the old days, you look at a season now that's something that comes out on DVD for a whole season, like Discovery. It's like 1 or 2 discs. Then you got like 24 season 1, which I'm holding up right now, which is a giant book of DVDs. Yeah. And almost every season of 24 is like that.
Well, I mean, what I will probably do too at some point is essentially get a RAID enclosure for a bunch of hard drives and set them up as RAID 0.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
So that way, but I mean, that's an expensive option, but it's also a more long-term sustainable option.
Right. Yep. I like it. Get like a Dell server and put it in your closet.
I want something that's going to be a little less noisy.
Oh, then I won't come over.
Oh, thank. I mean,
whoa! What was that?
It's 12:42.
Yeah, you might want to write that down. My goodness! See, I bring out the best in everybody, don't I? That's what we do here in the Trek Geeks Podcast.
You sure as do. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right.
Coconut.